All right. Hello, hello, hello. Well, Hashem, we have Pesach inside. The most important trait that a leader can have is Rahmanas. It's compassion. And a leader needs to know how, you know, where to apply it or not to apply it, and how to apply it. Each one according to what he needs. You know, babies, I guess, a little milk, and grown up needs meat and potatoes, whatever. And it says such a Rahman was Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu had this kind of Rahmanas, and he was Moshe Nefesh for Am Yisrael because of his Rahmanas. And the reason why he was Moshe Nefesh is because his role, the role of Moshe Rabbeinu, is to populate the world with people. What do I mean, people? People means people that have seichel, to know Hashem Elokim. You know that there's a purpose to life, and whatever it is that the person does ultimately comes together, you know, into a cheshbon. And anybody who doesn't have this kind of das, this kind of sense, is not really a person. He's not really a human being. He's an animal in human form. He has intellect. He's talented. Whatever it is, but it's an animal that can do all these things. That can, you know. But it's not. It's not. Human form means that he is godliness in human form. Instead of being an animal in human form, he's striving to be godliness in himself, because the source of a Jew is godliness, is the kisakavod. Here it's covered in the body. So the more mitzvahs you do, the more you strip the gashmias, the neshama shines. That's why the asaga, the attainment, the tzaddikim is masig is a quantum leap from anything that anybody else can attain, because it's not that they are using their gashmias seichel to understand things. It's they strip away the gashmias, and therefore what shines is the neshama, and the neshama is chelek elokam imal. It's a chelek. It's a portion of Hashem Yisbarach Himself. So the asag of the neshama, mitzad its connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is infinite. Because the neshama is part of infinity, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So why don't we perceive infinity like this? Go ahead. Why don't we perceive infinity like this? Because we are dressed in a step-down mechanism called the body. And the biggest impediment to Asogas Elokus is Averis, Lalina, sins. And that's the biggest Rachmanas that there is. When it says that all the Sur Lalina, all the, you know, the suffering the person can go through in this world, Hashem Yelachem, is nothing compared to the burden of Averis, of sins. Okay, so we all believe it, as we said, but the question is, how much do we believe what we believe? Yeah, I know, of course. So why are you doing so and so and so? because I don't really believe what I believe. Or I believe to a certain extent, and to the extent that I actually believe what it is that I believe in, this is how careful I am not to make errors. If it's just, misafa v'lachutz, it's just lip service. So that's how Ma'abed Hashem looks like. So we have to believe what we believe. We said that the whole idea is to bring das into people. And Rabbeinu says, then we went on, and Rabbeinu says that just bringing das into people, the person zochet to das, it's not enough. After a person is zochet to das, he's fulfilling his das completely. When he leaves this world after 120 years, he goes and he reaches, his place, his intended place. Rabbeinu says that's not the tachlis yet. The tachlis is that he should be up there and down here at the same time. How is it possible? A person passed away, So the answer is that he left behind either a son or a student or a talmid. So there is machlokas in the Gemara. What exactly? The Cheskel is talking about Rishonim. It says they did not leave behind a substitute. So the Gemara there's a machlokas in the Gemara. What does it mean? What does it mean to leave behind enough? It should be considered that you're still here also, even though the neshama is already up there. So one day in the Gemara, I think it's Rabbi Yochanan, he says that it needs to be mamash's son, because the son is mamash is a part of his father. The Baal HaTanya says that the toenail of the son is indelibly connected to the brain of his father. It's direct connection. And of course, the son should be somebody that you left your das with, that you taught him what's right, what's wrong, what's the main thing in the world, what's his ik, and so forth and so on. And there's another shita that says that it doesn't necessarily have to be dafka's son. It's enough, it should be a student. Because the student carried the das of a person, and that's the main thing. Also, we know that anybody who teaches his friend Torah, so the Kosa says as if he made him, as if he gave birth to him. So sha'asol l'divrei Torah. To say that's enough.
A friend, you say?
A friend, a talmid, or whatever it is. Whatever you teach, it means like you're making him, like you. Asol l'divrei Torah. So it says that's the main inyan. Asher maskil al dal. The only poverty that really exists in this world is poverty from das. En ani ela min das. Any other poverty, that doesn't count. It doesn't matter. They say that I think it was the children they were the grandchildren of Rabbeinu, and they were the children, the two sons of Rassel, the Rabbinu's daughter Sarah. And they came off, the Ephraim, I forgot the name of the other one, and their father was a very wealthy person, and they came, he passed away, he left them the money, and they came to Uman, with a limousine, with a very fancy wagon, So when they came to Uman, Reb Nosson, Reb Naftali, they looked and Reb Nosson said, "Listen, we have to do something for them. Can't just, leave them in this world, like roaming around in Cadillacs. That's not what." So both of them became extremely poor. Extremely poor. Ad kedei kach that Ephraim, Reb Nosson writes in the Mechtav, didn't have a shirt. He needed a shirt. It's like literally connected to the shoulders. In other words, wealth is not money. Das is money. Adrabah, wealth when it's not, directed towards Avodas Hashem, as we learned in Torah Samach, that the wealth is in order to be Zoche to Tvunas Torah La'oimka, to have an amazing insight into Torah. Other than that, it's just a toy. It's nothing. It's Kunsh mit nicht. So this is what we got so far. And the main thing that he should it's Merachim Minagim, it's Torah Zayin Chelek Beis. We are holding in the. It says that's the main pleasure of Kodesh Baruch Hu, that when a person is up and down at the same time, that his neshama after 120 years is already up, and he leaves behind a son or a talmid. That is the shleimus. This is the main pleasure of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Now you would say, okay, that's if he can learn, maybe can explain things well, can. So, but what has it got to do with me? So Rabbeinu says as follows: this inyan of leaving behind a son and a talmid, any person can do that. Every person can establish students, pupils. What do you mean? I don't know enough to be able to teach. What are you talking about? And if even if I know enough to be able to teach, I don't have the kind of Yeshemayim, the people should. When it says how does that? When two people speak to one another, they have a conversation that deals with Yeshemayim. When one of them shines and illuminates his friend with a certain dibur, his friend who's listening to him is considered to be a student. And sometimes, they switch roles. One is saying to his friend, so he's a teacher and his friend is a talmid. And then when his friend tells something to him, his friend is the teacher and he's the talmid. You're the talmid. The one when somebody receives a dibur from his friend, he becomes a student. Every person needs to be busy and work on and invest his time and his effort in this endeavor of speaking Yeshemayim, teaching Torah, and Yeshemayim speaking to his friends, to make Talmidim, and to listen, to become a Talmid. Kodesh Baruch Hu didn't create the world, to be desolate, be populated with football quarterbacks. We created this world to be populated with human beings. Every person needs to populate the world with human beings, people with das. The world will be filled with people, human beings. It said, he says, "Umilu es haaretz," and fill the land. Fill the land. Fill the land. Fill the land with with people that have das elokim, not with. This is the main population of the world. When the world is filled from people, with people, they are people that have reason, true reason. Anybody who does not have reason to understand that Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world, Kodesh Baruch Hu does, and will do everything, is not considered a person. The missus left over drinks over there. And Rabbi Nosson explains, the very same way a person is ordered, there's a mitzvah, that the person should leave children in this world, so the world should be populated. Kipshutoi, should have children. כן הוא מצווה להכניס דס וירא שמיים בבניו ותלמידים. He has the same directive. You know, it's the continuation of the basic directive to leave a popular world, you know, to have children, to propagate. Propagation means to bring das in Yerushalayim, in his children, his talmidim. That's the main mitzvah. Mitzvah la'amid toilodos l'kiyum ha'olam. Iker la'amid toilodos, the main offspring that the person leaves behind is mimin bnei odom, you know, human beings, dafka, not mean behemoths v'chayes b'dmus odom, not maybe animals in form of people. I mean, you take a look at what's going on. The people that are people. Animals that are in form of people, in people form, human form. So you can see that what they do is they pursue nonsense, and they know that it's nonsense. They know that it's nonsense, but what do you expect them to do? They're bored. So what they do is they take something which is fun, and they said it's important. And if this is something that makes, you know, that helps people pass the time, and they have excitement, it causes excitement. So anybody who is oisik in that, who deals with that, is very popular and will be very wealthy. It can be in music, it can be in sports, it can be, you know, in business, whatever it is that can be in art, it can be in anything. You know, art is a religion all its own. You know, art, the world of art. You're not allowed to question it. Not allowed to question it. And the artist, anybody that has a little bit of talent wants to be considered an artist, because an artist is priest of this religion called art. And as an artist, he is allowed, you know, short of actual murder, you know, he's basically allowed anything and everything. He's an artist. What do you expect? You know who he is? He's a star. He's a Picasso. You know, he can do anything. He can do anything. He gets away with murder. An artist. I remember there was a person that was a writer, some, you know, very talented and very successful, and he was behaving in not nice ways. You know, this was very immoral. So I asked him about it. He said, "I'm an artist." And I said, "If you're an artist, yeah. Oh, okay. I remember a family member of mine, you know, once shared with me a conversation of very, very famous 20th century musicians, classical musicians, like Arthur Rubinstein and big dudes, okay? And they were sitting and eating dinner. They're telling stories about artists that they knew. And one of them is since they made some kind of a silly joke, stupid, mamash. Not something immoral, but it was just stupid. It's like and a family of mine that shared this with me and said like, I wish I was a fly on the wall with that meeting. It was a video that was showed. I said, why don't you just shut up and play music? And I was like, you're such a mean-hearted person. I'm talking to you. They can play music. Good, let them play music. What are you talking? What kind of nonsense is this? No, but you don't understand. You don't get it. They're artists. They're artists for crying out loud. You don't get it, do you? And as an artist, they say a joke. It's not just a joke. It's a joke said by an artist, a great artist. And when they sleep at night, it's just a regular sleep. It's a sleep that's slept by a great artist. And when they dream, it's not just a regular dream. It's a dream that it's dreamt by a great artist. And then they make, okay, now we'll play to be champions. Okay. Huh. What happens when you become a champion? You start all over again. Yeah, we start all over again. And they do all kinds of entertainment, all kind of movies, whatever it is, about people that kill people as a profession. It's a very popular genre. Just think about it. Assassins, professional assassins. Oh, wow. Series of movies. Are you normal? Are you normal? Assassins? It's called animal in human form. What? Animals in human form. These are not people. That's not the kind of human beings that are supposed to be behind you. There's no doubt. What if it's war? Let's kill them before they kill you. It's a משהו אחר. I'm not talking about that. This is a different thing. I'm saying, that they have to invent this kind of false demionis. The idea is, that אין החינם ללמד בני ישראל חרב, מיהודה מלחמה, the David HaMelech, he taught whatever it is was necessary. This is what they did. But nevertheless, who was the general of David HaMelech's army? Yoav ben Tzruya. He was Rosh Sanhedrin. And who was the main general of King Shaul? Avner ben Ner. He was Rosh Sanhedrin. Who was the head of Sanhedrin, or Av Beis Din? Yoav did some bad stuff. But it was when you learn the Gemara says about it. Everything that he did l'shem shamayim. And if he thought it was l'shem shamayim, it was wrong. But they said that when Yoav ben Tzruya, the general, the chief of staff of David HaMelech, he says that when he died, he was buried at Beis Bamidbar. He was buried by his house in the desert. He says, Yoav ben Tzruya lived in the desert. Yoav ben Tzruya lived in Yerushalayim. He says no, because his household was open to poor people like a desert. Anybody wants to come in, goes out. There's a story about in Williamsburg, you can find this kind of Williamsburg, whatever they have a chnosasarchim like this. The people come from Eretz they go, they stay there, whatever. And there's a story of one Meshulach that came from Eretz Yisrael. He went to that place, and he slept there, and he ate there, and he stayed, 1 day, 2, 3, 4, 5. He didn't speak to anybody. Nobody spoke to him. He didn't know what to do. He's supposed to ask permission from somebody, or whatever it is. So himself, he went to. It's a true story. He went to a person there and confided in him. Listen, I came here. I didn't ask anybody. and I'm staying here. I don't have permission from anybody to stay here. I don't know what to do. The person he spoke to happened to be the balabais, the owner of the place. And he said, "Stop, don't worry about it." He said, "I'm the same thing. I'm the same way. It's just, you don't have to tell anybody. It's okay. I'm just like you." That was, Yoram ben Surya. His house was a midbar, was a desert, because anybody came and went. You had to say about Chaim Brisk. Chaim Brisker, he said his house was so open, people came out, or whatever it is, without permission. He says the only thing that they need is just to put on, pashkavil on the walls of his house. It was such a a public place. Everybody wanted to come in, go out, eat, sleep, whatever, everything. So the only thing you just needed is put pashkavil on the wall, of the house. It's only the only thing that was lacking to make it a totally urban. So it was the general. So Enachinami, you have to was an army general, but he was an Av based in. Was a great Talmid Chacham. All the Giborim of David HaMelech, all the heroes of David HaMelech, they were all tzaddikim uflagim. It says, was it Ben Ishtai? It says he went down. He beat the lion in the day of snow. One of the heroes. He beat the lion. He defeated the lion on a
a lion.
Yeah, that's what the Torah says. That he's the one who beat the lion beyom sheleg in a day of snow. What does it mean? So they said that he was I don't remember exactly that. He sat down and he learned 300 halachas. While I don't know if it's while sitting in snow, I don't remember exactly what the story was. We're talking about the time it's Chochem. It says Ben Ishchai, Ben Ishchai. It says, of course, a Ben Ishchai. What is it? Did you find a Ben Ishmet? Somebody who's a son of a dead person? Of course, Ben Ishchai. No, he says somebody who's a Ben Ishchai means somebody who learned story. This is Chaim HaMisiv. This is called true life. These were the heroes of David HaMelech. They were the generals. They were the commander. So of course, yes, you need to know Milchama. But you don't make a sport out of milchama. In Japan, I mean, killing is an art. I mean, it was in previous centuries. They have a sword, and the sword is, they make it in such a thing, and that it's made out of steel, and they beat it up and they fold it up, like 100 times, and then beat it up more and more 100 times until the sword itself is it's like almost like thousands of layers, whatever it is, so it never breaks and never this and it's polished and this and that, whatever it is. And how do they test it? How did they actually inaugurate this sword? They killed the person. Now the sword is certified. It's certified. It killed a person. They had a hero, a priest, one of the big of Japan, that he was an assassin. That his claim to fame that he killed 68 people. The thing is that you have to say he just went around and had duels with people, and he killed 68 people. It's called the priest of the sword. That means chayos behemoths with mus adam. That's not a human being. He says that people say if they don't know and feel the godliness of a Kodesh Baruch Hu and His Memshol, they're not considered Bnei Adam because they don't have a das to know Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the Ikar Ged of Adam. This is the main qualification of somebody to be considered a human being. But if these are the people that don't have these people that have this kind of das, The world is considered tov avot, and it's considered chaotic. There's nothing in there. That's why it says lo tov bro l'shevet tzara. Because God did not create the world to remain chaos, but to be populated, to populate the world, so the world with populated human beings, daiko, people that have das, people that know Hashem. Amen. Hashem is baruch, and that's the mitzvah of milas arts. Amen. Or milas arts, they fill the land. You have to fill the land with people. That's why. What does it mean? How to do it? That every person will speak with his friend. B'yas Shemayim. You don't have to be something brilliant that, like, chelik based. A person should speak in Chaver B'yas Shemayim. To put das in his friend, that means to populate the world. To put das in the Chaver. Speak B'yas Shemayim. Because every person in the Kudah, the other one does not have. Something unique by you. When you hear it, when a person hears it, a person can get it. Now the thing is, you can say, I've been speaking with people, and I don't know what to get from them. I don't know. They speak to me, but I don't see that I'm getting anything from them. The answer is because I'm not listening for it. I'm too busy to think about what I'm going to say. How I am going to show them how much smarter I am. So what they say, come on, what they say already is like, but if you were to speak with your friend and to hear the Divrei Shemayim that your friend is speaking, in order to get his Nakuda, this is something which is called in marketing, it's called the red shirt syndrome. Have you ever heard of it? You didn't hear it. Okay. I'll tell you what it is. Thank you for asking. You asked. So the red shirt syndrome is that a person can sit in a stadium, I don't know, a big championship game, and somebody's sitting next to you, and he tells you, close your eyes. Okay, close your eyes. Tell me, how many people are in the audience are wearing red shirts? You have your eyes closed. How do I know? I don't know. My eyes are closed. How do I know? Says, open up your eyes. Open up your eyes. Now tell me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that you're looking for them, now you see them. You saw them before, but you were not looking for them. So when you have to close your eyes, how many people wear red shirts? I don't know. You should you should listen to your friend when he speaks to you. Listen for the das amiti that he's saying. Because within what he's telling you is a nekuda teva that is unique to him. How will you find this nekuda? By listening for it. By looking for it. A person can spend a lifetime giving shurim, speaking, becoming famous or less famous, whatever it is, and you never listen to anybody. It wasn't a kabbalah from anybody. Usually because, hey, big, okay, I can listen to it. I remember many years ago, I was in America, and we were sitting in a shul, and there was a person sitting there. They were talking to you and davening. I was a young man. I came over and said, listen, that's not right. So he says, what are you giving, what are you telling me? You're giving me a mussar? Shulchan Aruch says, I'm supposed to, anybody's talking to you in davening, Shulchan Aruch says, goyrim boy, you scold him. I didn't scold him. I just say, come on, that ain't cool. So he said, not everybody can give mussar. So who should give mussar? Somebody, with a white beard, and so probably today you would listen to me, but then I have a beard, Chobadik, him, he gave us you, you, well, you. The Baruch Hashem, there are some people who are greater than you, so you can listen to them. Imagine that you'll be the greatest one of them all. That's it. You wouldn't listen to anybody at all. Only what? Everybody's supposed to speak. He's meant to listen. And that's the main population of the world. The people know it as well. That's Rabbi says in Falal, everybody needs to deal with this. You have to be busy with this. To put in das and Yerushalayim in his friend. This is the thing that turns your friend into your talmid, because now he's carrying your das. He absorbed your das. He's your talmid. Now your das exists. Your reason exists independent of you, of your corporeal body. And then, so then when a person, Hashem, will fulfill his days, and it will be time for him to leave this world, then he will be clothed, he will be cloaked in the dibur that he put into his friend. He considers that he himself, his mamish, exists in this world. I remember your father, Olav Shalom, Moshe. You remember how you used to say brachas? You used to say brachas, word, a word, a word. Cheers. Every single bracha. Me remembering this means that that's his das. Means that he is in this world still. Because I remember I got, this das and this Yerushalayim from him. And like this for everyone. The pasuk says there's no substitute for them. There's no stand-in for them. It says chadam ben chadam talmid. One opinion says it's a son, and one says no, talmid is enough. That's what the Gemara says. Nimtzo, so therefore it is found. Nimtzo ben talmid acharov. When it is found a son or a student after him, that means there is a stand-in, there is a substitute. There is a stand-in for him. Because he has, there's something that leaves behind. Since his mind, his seichel, his sense, remains in this world, through a son or a student, because the main thing is the sense, the main thing is the reason. If not for that, it's gornish mit nicht. It is considered as if he is mamash here in this world. He remains in this world. The Rebbeinu says that you can see it in a dover of the derech remez. The word chalifos means substitute. Somebody instead of him. So the word chalifos, that this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to leave somebody that will be in your stead, behind. That you will contain your das behind. Chalifos is rashateves pi yedabel chochmes v'hagod libi tvunois. My mouth will speak wisdoms, and the uttering of my heart is comprehension. In other words, when your mouth is speaking chochmah to your friends, and your heart is telling the comprehensions that it comprehends, you invest it in students, in children. That means this is chalifas. This is something that, as you said, you're leaving something behind. It's like you remain behind. But the word chalifas already contains in the b'derech remez of Rosh Hashanah, what it is that you need to do in order to leave Khalifas behind you. Speak wisdom, because Baruch in the world, each one according to what, it's just the way that you behave, the thing that you speak. Learn from them. That's the main thing. That's the main thing that remains after a person behind him. The fact that what he was speaking, wisdom, that wisdom that he spoke and comprehension spoke with his friend and brought within him das emes, a true das amiti, and Yir Shemayim. Again, that particular pasuk in Tehillim, Pi yadaber chochmas, my mouth will speak wisdom. And the utterings of my heart, his comprehensions, Rosh Hashanah Chalifas. That's exactly one against the other. That's how it's done. Because this is the main thing that is being left behind. Because when you actually come to think of it, a son and a student they're basically synonymous. They're basically one thing. Because a son is also a student. Because Rabbi said, it's not a chokhmah to leave behind the Chas Chalila ben Rasha. The ikar ben that you are leaving behind is the one that you gave das, as Yir Shemayim. The Talmud of Pchinas ben, the Talmud is also Pchinas ben. Moshamu Chazal, Kol Melamed ben Chaver Torah, anybody who teaches the son of his friend Torah, as if he made him, as if he created him. It is considered it is considered as if he made also the body of the Talmud, not just the das, but the body as well. And you have to understand that it says Kilo Asor Divrei Torah, if he made him Divrei Torah, because when you put a das in somebody, and that somebody afterwards is awakened to do a mitzvah, to do Torah, his body that did the mitzvah, his body did Torah, is a result of the das that you put in him. So it's not only considered that you created that body, because before it was just an animal in the form of a person. Now it became a body of a person. You mamash created the body. Not only this, but it's considered like you did the mitzvah. Because Lamaisa, the mitzvah is a continuation of who you are, what you are. Before he wasn't even called a person. It was called human animal. It just was a form of a person. It wasn't actually a person. So it is found, therefore, that when you learned with him and you put das in him, there's an asa out of this made him into a person. It turned him from a human animal into a human being, into human godliness. It's considered as if you mamish made him. So a son and a Talmud basically are practically synonymous. That's why the Talmud also a bechina of son. The one thing that we need to understand from this, you can take a look at a person can take a look at who he is, what he is, and it's a sad joke. A person can actually come to think of himself like and you realize it while it's going on. While it's going on, either doing deeds that shouldn't be done, or looking at things that should be looked at, or saying things that shouldn't be said, or thinking thoughts that should not be thought. And you catch yourself. No, let me stop. Okay, so you stop. Only for a few minutes later to do it all over again. So you stop again. And it lasts 10 minutes, half an hour, maybe a day, half a day. And then it comes again. And in the meantime, maybe you teach, maybe you learn Torah, you teach Torah. Rabbi said later on that the main thing that the people listen to is when person has Yil Shemayim. Where's the Yil Shemayim? Where's my Yil Shemayim? If I keep on repeating the same thing over and over and over again. So my Melech says it's like a dog that returns to eat its own vomit. Who am I to start learning Torah with people, speaking Yil Shemayim with people? Where am I? I mean, who am I? I mean, I'm just spinning my wheels. I mean, it's just like the answer is chas v'shalom. Chas v'shalom. En achinami. Whatever it is that I'm doing wrong should not be done. The thing that I'm saying that should not be said should not be said. Whatever I look at, it should not be looked at, should not be looked at. Whatever it is that I read should not be read, should not be read. The thoughts that I think that should not be thought, should not be thought. It's of God. And it creates mamish mitzvahs. Rabbeinu says that the hearer, improper, immoral thought creates mamish mitzvahs. It's a spiritual reality. It creates a spiritual reality. The answer is you keep on speaking to other people. You keep on putting das to other people. You keep on speaking the truth to other people. If you are not zoicha, if you yourself don't have the schutz to actually keep up with, in other words, you're able to talk the talk, but you find that you're not able to walk the walk. At least he will. At least your Talmud will benefit from this. He will take it and run with it. Rabbeinu says that anybody that does that sees that he himself, doesn't measure up. But he keeps on doing, he says, something, if I'm not Zocher, if I don't merit to actually keep it, at least he will. Rabbeinu says, with this, a person proves that his heart is clean. The purity of his heart. They just say, even if I am not Zocher Chas v'Chalila, at least he will. With this, a person proves the purity of his heart. That's point number one. Point number two, that's your avodah. You know that it's wrong. Fight with it. Fight against it. But it comes back, so fight again. I'll fight against it, so fight again. It comes back, so you fight again. Chazal said, what's the mashal? The mashal says that the king that tells people to fill barrels with water, gives them pails, go ahead, fill barrels with water. He says, the fool, what does he say? The barrels have holes in them. I pour water and it just spills right out. He says, they pay me by the hour. What do I care if the water stays in it, doesn't stay in it? What got to do with me? I'm paid to fight against these thoughts. I'm paid to call I can't stop. I can't stop. I want to. There's nothing that I would want more than that. Or at least would want more than that. If I really wanted to, I already would keep it. And I realize, there's literally hell to pay. And I still can't keep off it. You're calling out to Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's your avodah. This is your filling the pail. The barrel with water from the pail. It's your business. If it comes back again, you fight it again. It doesn't give you any heter to think these machshavas and to look at these things and to read these books or whatever, But first of all, talk to other people, at least that they should be zachar, they should merit. That's point number one. Point number two, that's your job. Your job is not to build the pyramids now. Your job is not to fly airplanes. Your job is not to carry I don't know what. Your job is just to fight the thoughts that come into your head. To see that stay away from Avedas. Stay away from Avedas. And if you can't, you cry out HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yesterday was Shvi Shel Pesach. Kriyas Yamsuf. Kriyas Yamsuf, they had all these opinions, right? Going on around. HaKadosh Baruch Hu led them in a way that they went back and they came to a place, there was nowhere to go. Parah was on one side, the sea was on the other side, there were animals on the other side, there was a desert on the fourth side. And now all the pundits started to say, okay, what do you think we need to do? So one sect said, something, let's go fight the Egyptians. And others says, something, let's just, put down the swords and just surrender and whatever happened will happen. Another group said, something, let's just commit suicide, let's jump into the sea, forget about it, about the whole thing. There's one thing that nobody ever thought about. That the sea is going to part. When Moshe Rabbeinu cried out to Kadosh Baruch Hu, because there's nowhere to go. There's a dead end. So Kadosh Baruch Hu says, Mati Takelai, what are you calling out to me? No, who should he call? Well, should call the Kadosh Baruch Hu. He says, Batika Tali Milson, says the Zohar. Tdaber b'nei Yisrael v'Yisrael, tell b'nei Yisrael, payachale, move it. Rabbi, you get to a point, you have no answers. How many times a person gets during his lifetime? If it's a rent he cannot make, because he doesn't have the money. And the letter's going to throw him out. Or he has a kid that he has no answers to. A wild bronco. And there's nothing you can do. So everybody has opinions, fight them with a sword, commit suicide, jump in the lake, all kinds of opinions. And it's dafka when you realize that you absolutely cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. Nachshon ben Aminadov, from Shevet Yehuda, he's the one that went into the sea. And he went into the sea, and the water come up. The sea didn't split. It goes more into the sea, the water come up more. Goes more, goes up, and up, and up, and up, and up, and up, and up. He keeps on going. Moshe Rabbeinu says, you go, so he goes. Until the water came up to his nose. The water reached the point where he can't breathe anymore. So he lifted up and says, that's it, I can't breathe anymore. Then the sea split. So comes the question, why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu do it? Why Dafka Nachshon ben Aminadov? This is a word I heard from Nosson Libanesh, Zeretzad Livrocha. Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu himself step into the sea? Why was Nachshon did it? He says, because in order to split the sea, you have to get to a point where you realize that you absolutely cannot do anything. And your only trust, the only Yeshua is listening to Moshe. When they split the sea, this is V'yamin V'yal Israel, Yitzhak Meschas Hayam. I'm so Egypt dead on the seashore. V'yaminu b'Hashem u'v'Moshe Avdei. Moshe Rabbeinu could not be the one going to the sea because the thing that needed to split the sea is Emunas Chachamim. You have to believe in Moshe. There's no way to split the sea. Moshe Rabbeinu coming to the sea because Baruch Hu can serve himself by himself. So you go, you face these choices that you make, and you see that you're not making it. You're not making it. Move ahead. Rabbeinu says, even if it looks to you as if, for sure, chas v'chalila, you're never getting out of game. Used to be a person, used to come to Uman, that, at that time in Uman, they used to have Mishmeret Tzniut. Because in Uman, it was, the Goyim, it was the small kibbutz, and the Goyim were all around. And things happened. Hashem Yirachem, and Mishmeret Tzniut, that was going around, and anybody was, doing feilishtik, they beat up. Right, wrong, this is what they were doing. But there was one person that every night would go to town. Woman, go to town. Go to a tavern, whatever, do whatever it is. Shem Yirachem. Did the day he came to Tzin Rabbeinu and cried his eyes out. At night he went back to town. In the morning he came to Rabbeinu and cried his eyes out. Nobody touched him. Shmer says nobody touched him. No, they beat him up, nothing. What can he do? He saw himself going down the drain every evening into the night, and he came to cry, but it's him during the day. And himself, oh Hashem, he had the Yeshua as his deliverance. Sorry, he got married, he had mishpacha, whatever it is, Baruch Hashem, everything settled down. The main thing is you keep on keeping on. You go into the water. Moshe Rabbeinu says you go into the water. The Mayim HaZeidonim, this is your machshavas, this is the things that you look, the books that you read, the movies that you see, whatever it is, the diburim, whatever it is that the person does, it should not be done. You keep on going, but the water keeps on coming up and coming up and coming. It drowns me. It's drowning me. It's killing me. Forever. It's killing me. Just keep on going. So cream out of this well, it's killing me. But the tzaddik says, keep on going. Batika telling me so because Ish Inyan Rabbeinu says there is an Inyan shenisabech hakol teva. There is an Inyan that everything flips over and becomes good. Yesh Inyan shenisabech hakol teva. Hashem should help us, Baruch Hashem. We are stepping into the summer. B'ezrat Hashem. B'ezrat Hashem will all be oisek in speaking to our friends via Shemayim. We're up to it, we're not up to it, we're fitting, we're not fitting, we're worthy, we're not worthy. Don't look at it. Just do it. Shem Yazor B'ezrat Hashem, should have a good Shabbos, and B'ezrat Hashem, Yeshua Shleim, B'ezrat Hashem, Nisim, Gluyim B'ezrat Hashem, Gashmis Beruchnis, Kol Tuv.